UK services, Lamarzi and who1.co.uk present the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast, episode 547. I'm Adam and I wear Stetsons now. Stetsons are cool. And here's Deborah Melrose.
Big silvery thing in the sky, you couldn't resist it. Quite right.
And Kirby Bartlett. Sloan.
These are my top operatives. The legs, the nose, and Mrs. Robinson. I'm so glad that none of you guys took that one.
Lillian Robbins says hi. And on we go with the Impossible Astronaut and the other episode for which name I forgot to mention. So the episode begins, obviously remembering this is of course an introduction to a new series with some sort of random scenes from times gone by of sort of the Doctor, well, essentially being in the nuddy and being chased after by some cavalier bloke, while what's her name again? The ginger-haired bird. Amy. That's it. Amy and Rory are in their house, sort of doing domestic stuff, and the Doctor keeps appearing in various things, like on without being seen. Funny enough, at the Laurel and Hardy film and stuff like that. And then a letter arrives.
Master.
No, it wasn't the Master. He's not even in this episode. What are you bloody going on about?
The Doctor does ask Amy if she saw him, and she replies that she did. So
don't care. Anyway, so they get an envelope.
And also they reference that they were watching this film, the Laurel and Hardy film, several times. So
yeah, he's explained the jokes.
So they get a letter with a TARDIS blue letter, and so does River Song, so the next scene is a bus out in the middle of nowhere in the sticks.
How did they get a school bus to go out into the middle of nowhere, though?
And meanwhile, in the Millennium Stadium, River Song's got out again.
The thing I found most amusing about seeing that was underneath the Millennium Stadium is they didn't even bother putting things over these section markers.
No.
For the seats.
Yeah, the Doctor, meanwhile, is sprawled over a sort of like Cadillac type car, I suppose. And
what do they call them? Just a beast, really, aren't they?
Yeah. This is the point where she says, I wear Stetson now, Stetsons are cool, and he gets shot off his head. He
actually look pretty good in a Stetson compared to a Fez.
By River Song.
Fezes are cool.
And then they go to a cafe and have a snackaroonie and stuff.
I love the way
that.
they catch up, where they're basically just trying to work out whereabouts they are in their storylines.
Yes, that's quite good.
That reminded me, we haven't heard from Jim the Fish in ages and ages and ages.
Not since these episodes went out, Kirby. Where do we get up to?
No. I'm talking about, we used to have someone who was...
I just said that, not since these episodes, you naughty... God's sake! What?
No, we heard from him for
I'm listening, honestly.
No, we haven't heard from him since around these episodes. He did it for a little bit and then stopped and never came back.
Which was too bad, because I used to like having my ears blasted out.
Yes.
So have you considered writing him?
No. Yes. The picnic started off in the cafe place or cafeteria.
Master.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
This cafe is not in America. It's in.
I don't bloody care. Oh, Jesus!
I understand that it was very popular for a long time, and it's now closed. Probably closed around the same time as the Experience.
Marvelous.
So there's no real thing to see anymore, except a few things that don't go away, like the shrine.
Yeah. Anyway, so they eventually moved their picnic to the desert by this sort of rather handily placed lake thingy, and Amy sees a mysterious creature up on the sort of rocks and then doesn't see it. And then Canton turns up. Elderly Canton, who is Mark
Played
Shepherd's
by
dad.
I love that's his real dad.
Yeah.
Son and dad. That's just so cool. I love this actor. He's one, and he's like, obviously Mark Shepherd is the he's that guy, but his dad was the original one because he turned up in things that I'd watch all the time, like Sequest and things like that. He'd just pop up.
Yeah. Have either of you been to a convention where you've met Mark Shepherd?
No, I wish.
Hundreds of times. He's always at Wales Comic Con. Always. He's a resident there, and he'll be there on next weekend. In fact,
I'm trying to remember. Did we get him?
If you see a picture of me, I've got a picture of me on the wall here with Matthew Lewis, who is a character actor from a film series called Harry Potter.
Yes,
and
heard
he plays
of it.
What?
Yes, I know. I've heard of it.
In the background of the picture is Mark Shepherd cuddling somebody. So I've actually had my picture taken with Mark Shepherd. He's up there. So I don't need to have another one, do I?
Did we have Mark Shepherd on the podcast during that one conversation?
No, I asked him. He said no. He was one of my first celebrity friends on Facebook, but then his followership went beyond 5,000 and changed all the parameters or something.
No, I'm saying when he was a guest at Concave, did we interview him?
I have no idea. Probably that was the one where you got the time zones wrong. I don't remember.
No.
What?
No, that was Con GT.
I don't remember having Mark Shepherd on the show. Anyway, so they're having this picnic, and a space person comes out of the lake, and the Doctor goes up to the space person, seems to know who they are. We don't get to see it yet, but we know who it is, so it does give a different spin on the whole thing, knowing who the person is. Anyway,
this is
the
the
Doctor...
first time I've seen these since they were on, and it is interesting to watch.
It is.
When you know how it...
It is, yeah. It gives a different spin on it. But it culminates in the Doctor getting deaded. The Doctor, in inverted commas, getting deaded. Of course, that's where, I love the regeneration.
Eccles or Blue Bottle?
Yeah, I love the regeneration bit. The regeneration bit, obviously, knowing what happens doesn't make much sense, but it's a rather cool scene. And stuff.
Sorry. River
Song shoots at said spacesuit thing and then goes, of course, or of course not, or something like that. Yes, it's the Doctor says Canton that he is dead, sort of. Yeah, Amy's absolutely distraught. And then there's a scene of which I think Roy suggests burning the body in a boat that just happens to be there. And they all stand in a weird line. Like they're queuing to get an autograph from the dead body or something. You know, socially distanced as well. Socially distanced line, watching the body burn. But yeah, so that's that. That part of that scene gone. And then they go back to the cafe, and the Doctor comes out the back, and they go, and then I think River Song slaps him or punches him or something like that after he's a bit confused.
In real life, multiple times.
Yeah, Amy's confused.
Had they stopped doing confidentials? I don't remember.
I don't know, and I don't care because I'm not doing the 20 megabyte Doctor Who confidential podcast. I'm doing this. Anyway, so the Doctor, we've
where a lot of information comes from.
Whatever. Anyway, we discovered that this is an older, younger Doctor.
Right.
A younger Doctor who does not know what's going to happen to him. And of course, River
He doesn't know
Song,
Jim the Fish either.
River Song knows that spoilers are quite dangerous, so can't tell him, even though Amy wants to. And she keeps on sort of...
Amy's like...
Yeah. And she keeps she keeps doing those sort of, telling off eyes at Amy, saying you better not to. Bearing in mind that's her mummy, it's a bit interesting to watch again, different, angles. Rory is very distrusting of Amy, I think. He sort of keeps sort of earwigging conversations, and he's sort of not 100% confident in the love that Amy has for him still. Anyway, moving on a little bit, just a little bit more. They end up after a little bit more in a bar. The next scene is in a bar with Canton having a drink, and he's sort of carted to see President Nixon, and then the TARDIS sort of is in invisible mode. The Doctor steps into the Oval Office and just gets spotted quite quickly. Actually, maybe they he should put himself in invisible mode as well. Anyway, that's quite a good scene where the Doctor's sat with his feet up on the president's desk with about 5 guns pointed at him.
These are Americans, okay.
Yeah.
Like that bit.
Anyway.
Yeah, we all have guns.
During this this elongated
You do in
sequence
Britain, apparently.
during this elongated sequence of him doing some funny stuff in the Oval Office, a creature appears at the door, which Amy sees, and then
I didn't see
she
it.
starts feeling sick after seeing this. Yeah, Amy sees it, and then she sees it again when it kills the
I was
respectable
making a
woman in the
little
toilet.
joke, sir.
A very
I got it,
yeah,
Kirby,
it was a
Kirby,
microscopic joke, Kirby, because
He's
it was not very easy to spot.
Really trying to rush through this way too fast. And
No, I'm not. I'm going at the proper speed.
Say anything, so
Oh,
why should I?
Damn, I forgot to put the World Cup on.
Stop sulking already, Kirby. You've only been on 12 minutes.
Terry Miles says, hi, everybody. Anyway, so, yeah, the woman in the toilet a bespectacled woman gets done in by the silence. Oh, sorry,
Why?
I'll volume up on the football. I'll turn it down. Oh, damn, that's turning it up. Hang on.
Wait, stop it. Stop being
There you go, I've turned it down.
distracted.
No, I'm sure at some point that I'll be able to look over my shoulder and see what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, the silence. I don't remember the silence killing anybody else after
It
killing.
doesn't. I don't know why this happened.
It's just like it's just this is how dangerous I can be as a baddie, and then it sort of backs off out of doing that sort of thing for like the rest of it. Maybe it was just deemed too scary.
What we forgot to mention was there was a big reason why Canton's been called to the president's office, because there was a phone call from a little girl saying "help me" and stuff like that. So the Canton has been called in. Basically, the president wants to find out, and the Doctor does want to find out who this little girl is. We know who it is, but at the time, it was a bit
It's
mysterious.
Mel's.
What?
It's Mel's.
Does it? Oh, we'll squirt something on it then.
No.
We know.
So moving on, so Rory and basically they keep on poking around this sort of mysterious house, and at this point they can't remember the silence. So there's a point in which Amy, of course, takes that picture of the silence in the toilet,
Yeah,
Cole-
you've moved on to the second episode, or are you talking about
She took a picture of the silence in the toilet just before, or just
In the
after. That
first
woman was
episode,
blown to
Kirby.
smithereens on a
Okay.
little mobile phone thingy. God, anyway, so they're in this sort of spooky house, which is like a
No,
like
it's
a
not a spooky house.
orphanage.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It's an orphanage, but it is quite
No,
spooky.
no.
Yes.
If
It's
you're
a
in the
warehouse.
Impossible Astronaut, this is not the orphanage. It is a warehouse.
I was going to
Right.
say it's a warehouse.
Yeah. Well, the reason I got confused because they're quite similar sort of atmospheres in
No,
those
it's
things,
definitely
and
a
also.
warehouse. You've got warehousey things.
And also because I'm getting interrupted a lot. Where do we get up? Oh yeah,
Terry
the
Miles
machine.
Said hello, by the way, Adam.
Pardon?
Terry Miles has said hello.
Yeah, I just actually said that about
Yeah, he actually
60
did.
seconds ago.
I was reading another article. Sorry. Hi, Terry, for me.
Yeah.
Yay.
Anyway, so they can hear the occasion. There's silence everywhere, and they're sort of seeing them and not seeing them, and then this space suited person comes out and picks up their helmet, and then inside is this little girl. The Doctor's there, obviously, and Amy just shoots it. Basically, shoots her own daughter, or shoots at her own daughter at least. Well, she doesn't. I should have said.
It's
Spoilers.
stated that she misses.
She's
But
his
it was
missus
a
as
nice,
well. That doesn't make sense.
cliffhanger.
Day of the Moon's the second episode. That's what.
Wait. Let me change.
And that's the end of the story. So, what did you think of it then, Debbie?
Not the end of that episode.
No, I'm winding Kirby up.
No, you're not winding me up.
I'm not. Okay.
I'm not seeing anything about the silence changing from killing people, obviously, to not.
You're not?
In any of the articles
Yeah,
about
I
it.
don't see
But
anything.
I'm loving all the bit about it being inspired by advanced
Deb.
science and all that sort of thing.
Debbie,
Yes?
Oh, and I said, what did you think of it? I was being facetious.
Yes, I know you were, but I'm quite happy to play along.
Remember when she didn't notice that Terry Miles, that you said hi to Terry Miles?
Yeah.
She was looking at this article.
Yeah, I know I was. I've just said
Yes.
what the article was.
Are you trying to dob her in or something? Anyway, episode 2 is Day of the Moon, and there's lots of scenes of Amy, Rory, River running from authorities, led by Canton, while the Doctor has grown a beard and is sort of in a sort of, they're building a sort of construction around him.
Odd beard.
Very odd beard. Doesn't look very real, does it, Deb?
No, it looks.
No.
It's like not even an attempt to make it look authentic.
I notice he's got a sort of very sort of wrinkly sort of brow, and I don't know if Matt Smith's still got that wrinkly brow, you know. But I'll have to look. I've watched the Crown. What?
Wrinkly brow.
Yeah, it's wrinkly. No, above his eye, between his hairline and his eyebrows, he's got a lot of wrinkles, like he frowns a lot. But I don't know
Maybe
if
it was sunny and he's like squinting.
No, but he generally has that lots of lines in between. Anyway, I'll just have noticed that on things he's done since Doctor Who. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, so the other thing that Amy, Rory, and River have got on them are these sort of tally marks all over their bodies, which reminded me a little bit of course of the that one with the Satan pit thingy where the Toby whatchamacallit had the marks on him, the runes or whatever.
Those were the runes.
Yeah.
Untranslatable characters.
Yeah. Anyway, so apparently they're all shot by Canton's gang, and the bodies get dragged into the Doctor's little prison because as soon as they shut the door because of this special material, Canton can reveal that it's all a big ploy to get everybody together.
So I can't say anything about the special material, of course.
I do love the scene where Rivers sort of jumped off the building and the Doctor says open the TARDIS door, open the swimming pool door or something like that, and there's a little splash of water comes out of the TARDIS door as it's over. But that was quite similar to the scene when Ace jumped off the building in the most recent Doctor Who story, the name of which, Power of the Doctor, wasn't it? When Race doesn't actually fall into the swimming pool.
I have a feeling that this came first.
No, did it? Anyway, so yeah, of course, there's something to do with the Saturn V rocket and Neil Armstrong. So later on in the story, but the Doctor sort of wants to sort of do something because obviously later on, I can say this now because it's my show. The most watched television program around the world at the time was the moon landings, which Isabella thinks are fake.
Really?
What?
Oh no!
Oh yes.
I
did say to her, what would be NASA's point of killing
sources,
astronauts just to create a fake, a fake thing like that? But never mind.
Have her watch the Mythbusters. They did the best. Sorry, couldn't hear you.
No, I know because you were talking.
I know. What'd you say?
I said sign Izzy up for the Mars trip.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I did ask her, there's a mirror on the moon. How did it get there? Did they should somebody throw it there and it landed and didn't break? I don't get this.
Someone lost it out the door as they were driving past Earth, rolling up the windows.
Anyway.
If you can find the Mythbusters coverage, that's of why it's not fake. That's one of the best ones I've seen.
I know it's not fake. I don't have to watch silly programs like that.
No,
anyway,
for her to watch.
Pardon?
For Isabella.
Your doubting daughter.
Oh, she won't. No, you'll have to send her up there for her to really believe it's real. Where do we get up? Oh yeah. So meanwhile, in the TARDIS,
I would not think in this day and age people would disbelieve that. Still,
I think it's they find it difficult to believe that in 1969 that it was possible to go to the moon and back. It's because it's such a long time ago when you think about it now. Back at the time when I was watching it on the telly, it was amazing. But we seemed in 1970, because when I saw it was 1972, one of the later moon landings.
Oh, I was about to ask, how old were you in 69?
3. I probably did watch it. Don't remember. I do remember watching it around about the last one or two of the moon missions during 1972 and stuff like that. I remember clearly watching it and being fascinated.
I'm
by
the
it.
oldest of us all. I remember the moon landing. So there.
Yeah, my dad was talking about it the other day as well.
I can understand why people think they were
9.
fake, because if you look at the TV coverage, it looks like really ropey old CCTV footage, doesn't it? So because what you see is so poor quality, it would be easy to fake it, with the TV facilities that were available at the time. But it would also be completely and utterly pointless. Moving on, with the Russians would be the first people to say it didn't happen, wouldn't they? Let's face it. It was the space race. The Soviets, I beg your pardon, would have been the first people to say it wasn't true. Anyway, so meanwhile, the Doctor's had a shave, and inside the TARDIS is a silence, because he's developed this thing where you've got a little dictaphone inside the palm of your hand.
Except that's not really a silence.
What?
A silent did not get into the TARDIS. It is a reproduction, kind of a hologram that he made from the picture from Amy's phone.
Okay, I'll let you off that one. I didn't pick up on that. Anyway, so they go to this orphanage where Sally Sparrow's been writing stuff. Oh no, not Sally Sparrow. Sally Sparrow's friend that got sent back in time has been writing stuff on the walls in red paint, and a very spooky house. And they all split up for some bizarre reason and start poking around. And Amy ends up in a room where the little girl is, and subsequently she wakes up. Next shot is of her with tallies on her face. So obviously she's seen silence over and over again. Nobody's killed her yet. She looks up and sees them all hanging from the ceilings. Very spooky.
Oh, that's creepy, yeah.
Didn't they have a display of them hanging from the ceiling at Experience?
Yes. Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yes. The Doctor is poking around the lunar module thingamajig.
The lunar module thingamajig.
No, he's poking around the command module.
I said thingamajig. That covers
and
the module part of it.
Breaks off a piece of the lunar module, but that's the command module that the Doctor is in.
I said thingamajig. That covers
both,
because I wasn't sure what it was, because it's a very brief scene. Anyway,
have it, Kirby, for goodness sake.
Yeah. And I like the scene where they've arrested him and asked him questions, and then the president sort of turns up and sort of clears everything, and River's wearing this
master.
dress.
That isn't for the people who think that anyone who travels in the TARDIS is at least sort of a companion. That means that Richard Nixon is a companion.
If you say so. And of course, Rory in his suit and that breaks a bit off the lunar module. And meanwhile, back at the house.
Oh, no. Didn't you notice the other thing with Rory in that scene?
Go on, then.
He salutes the British way.
Good. That's consistent.
Which is, it's out of... He shouldn't be, because he's supposed to be an American there.
Over my shoulder is the Spain-Germany game. And that's the reason why Ben's not on, because he's watching it. He'll be delighted to know you're snoring just so there's a mere mention of his name. But anyway, moving on.
No, because of the mere mention of some sort of sport thing.
I said sport. That's just sport. I mean, curling is a sport, Kirby. I could have been talking about that.
Oh, curling is fine, but what sport is this that you're talking about?
I'm mentioning what sport I'm saying, but this is the reason why Ben isn't on the show, because he's watching it. Anyway, so...
being distracted by it.
Only a little bit. Well, Ben's completely distracted because he's watching the whole match. So Amy finds a picture of a little girl. And then that little girl wanders in wearing a spacesuit and she says, "Sorry, I shot you. Help me."
Well, she also finds a picture of herself holding a baby.
Yes, that's curious. We know why, but that's curious and curiouser. Also, there's that scene, I don't know if it's happened yet because it's so brief, of when Amy was poking around the window with Francis Barber. The eye patch sort of looking through.
Yes, it was just before she entered the child's room.
Yeah. So that was obviously the first scene of this thingamajig, and of course
It makes Tyler go,
Amy mentions. Who does she mention first to that she's pregnant? It wasn't the doctor, was it? Was it? Was it?
Yes.
He tells her, doesn't he?
No. She said,
she tells the doctor.
Yeah, she tells the doctor she's pregnant
before telling Rory. He finds out by eavesdropping.
Yes. Anyway, then Amy.
By the way, the scenes inside the orphanage were filmed in an abandoned house, but they turned on rain generators outside and had flashing lights for the lightning.
I love good old-fashioned style of making thunder and lightning.
Yes.
Somebody stood out there
after seeing the girl, sorry to interrupt this, after seeing the girl in the spacesuit and screaming, Amy disappears mysteriously. And then Canton steps out, and the president step out of the doctor's prison-y thing, and I think the moon mission begins, and then what's her name again? River, yes.
Melody
poking around in the under sort of parts of the where all the silents are. Rory's sulking because obviously he's every time Amy gets into any sort of danger, he blames the doctor and what have you. And Amy is taken prisoner by the silents and sort of kept. And then the sort of place where the silents are looks very similar to that spaceship that was in the lodger, which we watched.
Yes, in fact, the doctor references that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I just referenced it.
He says very something. He mentions the name of the street that house was on. Yes.
Anyway, so the doctor's little scheme comes to fruition when Neil Armstrong steps out of the lunar module, because they recorded, because Canton's shot one of the silents and recorded it sort of threatening everybody, and then that video was sort of played over the bit where Armstrong's about to step onto the moon, so that everybody in the world would chase the silence away. And so that a bit of revenge there for the doctor. And yeah, all the silents are chased away. And then there's a scene, like I say, Rory can't help himself but eavesdropping. And Canton is asked the president if he can marry his lover, who's black and gay. Rather pointless bit of gay agendering there, but gay and racial agendering there, but it was very subtle and just sort of fitted in pointlessly, but rather charming.
Married
as well.
my lover, he's black. They're black. I don't see why not. And a man. One thing at a time, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, a bit pointless, really. Yeah. I think what Moffat was trying to do is trying to be RTD, but using a sledgehammer instead of a feather. Anyway, so the Doctor drops River back off at the Millennium Stadium, and it has a big kiss. Now, this is where this bit goes a bit wrong for me, because I like the idea of the Doctor and River sort of meeting each other out of sync. Not necessarily in this alleged reverse order, because that doesn't work at all. And I think other times they've met, they have been in sort of out of sync, especially the later part of River's time in Doctor Who. And he's obviously they have this kiss. The Doctor acts as if it's the first time they've ever kissed, and River said, "Oh, that's the last time we'll ever kiss." Of course, it couldn't possibly be, because she hasn't married him yet. Although, has she? I don't know. Anyway, it's very confusing. But it's
this makes sense that this is the first time that kissed. I have no problem.
No. It's the last time she's kissed him. That's what she says, and the first time she's kissed him in the Doctor's timeline. You see.
No. The last time that she kisses him is with Capaldi.
Yeah, when they're at the towers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she just said. Oh,
I think that you misheard a line or something.
No.
Yeah.
She said at the end of it.
Maybe it's one of those lines that they decided to ignore, like they do in quite a lot of New Who.
Hang on, let's put the volume up and see what she says.
Yeah, let's prove it.
You know what they say? It's the first time for everything.
And a last time.
Yes?
No, there is. She's simply saying that there is also a last time.
Time is running out.
Well, she's referring. It makes out she's referring to that kiss that they just done.
Or that she's referring to the fact she's about to shoot him.
It's all right. It doesn't matter anyway. I love the River Song. The whole River Song Tommy Wiminess. I know a lot of people hate it. It's one Marmite thing, but I love it. I love River Song.
No, I have no problem with it.
I know you don't. I'm talking about my feelings on it.
Love River Song.
Absolutely.
So, Raimi and Jory make up after basically Amy calls him a bit stupid. And the doctor says, so, what should we do? Should we find this little girl, or should we go off and have some fun? And then he checks behind her back, which is really unethical, if she's pregnant, and it says positive, negative on the screen.
Yeah.
And that happens for the next 2 episodes after this one, too.
And the next scene is a very exciting scene of the little girl. Obviously, we know who the little girl is. Regenerating!
Yeah, remember how we were going, what?
No, that's what David Tennant was going. Anyway, so, yeah. I think it's annoying, really, because I quite enjoy this story. Because I always sort of, you can pick holes in things.
Why is it annoying?
Because I'm trying to wait for, this awful Moffat era that we remember as being so bad. But I enjoyed most of the first series. I've enjoyed these 2 episodes. I can see inconsistencies and things that.
The thing is, now you've got what everybody's like, everything you can clear in hindsight. We've now done everything. We're now going back over, and we're enjoying everything in a more nuanced way.
Well, I just like to look at things to see it.
This in a lot less than 25 minutes.
I'm sorry. I just like to look at things and look at it and see if I enjoyed it. Now, I enjoyed the scenery. Obviously, it's shot in a very beautiful part of the world. Obviously, it had some of my favourite characters, a bit of an ensemble cast with River, Arthur, Karen, and Matt. Obviously, Mark Sheppard.
All the other cast members all just really step up. Yeah. The acting in this season is just amazing.
I also get the tongue-in-cheekness about the Nixon connection and the little in jokes and stuff like that. And there's a bit of base under siege going on, and this new Creature of the Silence, which is quite cool. Don't see what the point of the shirt and tie is, but I think again it's quite cool. And I'm looking at it and thinking, this is actually really good, and I don't remember thinking that at the time, and I'm trying to see. I know things might change as we go on. What the problem was that we all had with Moffat up to this point. So let's see what happens later on. But I'm watching Karen Gillan thinking, blimey, she's beautiful, and she hasn't really changed much since there. Arthur Darvill's fab. Why hasn't he had some better work come up for him? Obviously, Alex Kingston is brilliant. And, of course, Matt Smith, we know what happened to him after this. It's really good. I'm a bit stumped at the moment.
Having seen Matt Smith completely naked on House of the Dragon.
I haven't seen House of the Dragon. You just spoiled it for me.
Either.
So I'm not going to be watching that.
That's the Doctor.
Not going to be watching that now because you've just spoiled it for me.
Have you ever seen that movie that Tom Baker was in before he was the Doctor? Where he was
Rasputin? Rasputin?
Yeah, no. It was something else.
No, I know he was in a thing after Doctor Who where he was playing a vicar that was having sex with lots of women, I think. Hang on, I've got a cough coming, bear with. So I cleared my throat. Oh, hang on to the corner. Spain has just got a corner.
When he played Rasputin, that could sum up that film as well.
And wasn't he in a Sinbad film as well?
Oh yeah, he was terrific in that. He was wizard.
Why are we talking about Tom Baker? I'm just saying, I quite enjoyed this story. I think it was pretty, it was well acted, it was dramatic, had a bit of horror in there, a bit of comedy in there, timey-wiminess. And mystery, obviously, with Amy's pregnancy, and the fact that there's so many sort of main cast members in the story, it's quite remarkable that it wasn't going off in all directions and wasn't fun, but it was. What did you think of it then?
Well, I can't really add much to you because obviously I interrupted all the way through that. I do apologise. Other than the music.
What about the music? Music's fab. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, the music in this is sensational and really helps lift the scenes, push the emotion in them. I love what they did with it in this, and again, as you say, it's pretty. The colour palette throughout is fantastic. All the reds and desert hues, and then the darkness with the silence, and just it yeah, I know the silence is based, as I said, I was talking about earlier when I went segueing off looking at the silence, but the whole 2 episodes especially are the same colour palette as Gustav Munch's The Scream. So it is absolutely wonderful to look at and digest, but as again, the acting is brilliant. And Mark Sheppard can rarely do any wrong. He's been a stalwart with Star Trek and all sorts of things. He's just absolutely brilliant, and I'd like to see him as the Doctor.
I don't think that's got him somehow.
Last time we did this, but I'd like to see him take it.
You weren't on the last time we did this.
Well, we've mentioned it before. We have talked a bit about this. I'm sure we've also done it in one of our things, but I'm sure you'll prove me wrong. But I may have talked to somebody else rather than you guys. But
I control the spreadsheet.
Well, I've completely lost where I was going
whatever.
with it.
Sorry.
There you go. I really enjoyed these two, and I like watching them together as well. It's good Doctor Who, and Matt Smith is a good Doctor. There you go.
Yeah, you talked about the music, and the thing I liked about it, and obviously we got the Doctor's theme and Amy's theme, and there were little sort of versions of it played in the background in a slightly different way, like a softer way and stuff like that, which I thought was quite nice. Kirby, what did you think?
Oh, I absolutely love this pair. I did not remember that it was a 2-parter until I was reminded last week or week before, whenever it was, because it had been so long. This is the first time I've seen it probably since 2011. And these were great. I absolutely loved this story. It's too bad that this series is incredibly Marmite, because it's not as bad as Chibs, but we have great stories this series, and we have some of the most rotten things that they ever put on coming up as well.
Wait and see.
but I absolutely love this particular story, and we really enjoyed sitting here with Fred a couple of nights ago watching it. I don't have much more to say. I would have had more to say if you hadn't just bounced through this super fast, but
I've bounced through it in the correct pace, to be fair.
Normally there's more of us to interrupt him, Kirby. He did do it. He did do it at the same pace.
We're still
you and I here to interrupt
38
him.
minutes into the show, so I'd say that was the correct pace of.
Last time was in April of 2011. It was.
And it feels like we're still recording that
episode. It was right
episode.
after I was starting to be part of the...
Germany had just scored. Hang on, I'm going to rewind that. Carry on.
It was right after I started being a regular on the podcast. Sorry about that. And I wasn't even on during the entire podcast. You were picking me up like partway through.
Was I?
Yeah.
Oh, good old days.
And we had you, Alicia, Izzy. You talked with I think some people in the garden about if they were watching.
Some people in the garden?
Yeah, your mother, I believe.
Really? Okay.
In the backyard, yeah.
I can't remember that. Okay.
Well,
Carry on, Kirby.
Part of it. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Okay.
And we also had Ben on.
Understandably so. Right. Anyway, yes. Have you gone through what you thought of it? I've just clicked on the wrong blooming thing here. What's going on? I went to go to Facebook. I went to Google.
I'm pretty much. I liked it. Unfortunately, next week is bad.
All right. Whatever. Don't.
The next.
Do you want to be on next week's show?
The next one is good.
Do you want to be on next week's show?
That's good. Bad.
Do you want to be on next week's show? Hello.
Right.
I say next week. We're not recording for the rest of the year.
Until next Christmas.
Right. Let's move on to Kirby's feedback section.
Let me get there. Where is it?
Why,
No,
after all these years, are you never ready?
I am often ready, but in this case, because of various things, I wasn't. Sorry.
Not good enough.
And I'm so glad that Captain Kirk said that he had posted his script in my we're not recording in the Iron.
Oh, the Germany goal got disallowed. Let's have a look, shall I?
Because I was going to read that. Anyway. Let's see. Ian Kirk. Oh, what? I don't want top comments. I want all comments. Shift that. One more comment.
Makes good podcasting, this, doesn't it, Deb?
Ben Shoveler says, sorry, Spain versus Germany wins this Sunday. And Andy says, I'd definitely rather do my ironing. Neil James, The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon. These episodes are so well directed. The American location work is epic, and the guest cast are brilliant. Matt Smith is so at ease with his portrayal now, and Karen and Arthur seem to be having fun. I do find River very annoying, though, and kind of wish she wasn't around. Put her in a decent prison.
No.
What's wrong with him? I think the Silents are fantastic monsters and are genuinely creepy. And going back to the great direction, the sequence in the scary children's home is masterful. But my favorite thing about this story is the cliffhanger. It's so weird. Amy telling the doc she is pregnant and then attempting to murder a little girl in a spacesuit.
Yeah, well, she doesn't know.
In Doctor Who. Loved it when it went out live and still love it now. But sadly, what I don't love about this is the plot. No, it's next week. It's the Curse of the Bad Plot.
Will you shut up?
Everything gets so confusing and overcomplicated from this point onward. A two-parter, like any story, should come to some sort of conclusion. I just feel that this asks way more questions than answers. But despite this, the good stuff easily outweighs the bad. 4 stars out of 5. Yeah, that's right. It's me now.
Is it?
With a few more points. Yeah, this entire series arc with the goo people and the Silence, they don't make sense. They're good, but they do not make sense.
Is that it?
Okay. Yeah, and Ian Kirk says my script is on Kirby's last week post by mistake.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't realize that was his script.
Oh,
I made
jeez.
some comments on it, which I will make after we hear thing.
Okay. Debbie, you've got some blurb.
Indeed, yeah. From Linda and Terry Miles. This last week, I watched The Curse of Fatal Death, then The Children in Need 1993 Doctor Who Story Dimensions in Time. I've no idea why, but I blame having COVID for a couple of days. Oh, dear. Okay now, no residual effects. Oh, sympathies. That was horrible stuff. The new companion seems a little bit young, but we'll see how she gets on when the next new Doctor starts his run in the role.
Yeah, she's 18.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, are you not allowed to act at 18 now? I'll have to look that up. Hang on. Google it. How old must you be to act? Hang on. Carry on, Deb.
Out the room.
Google.
Right, I'm going to carry on with this.
Yeah,
yes.
Sarcasm mode off. I remember this one. It was the one where, after the press showing, some idiot fanboy gave away the entire plot on the interweb. That was after the production crew asked them not to. Stephen Moffat was not at all pleased. I wish River would stop shooting hats off the Doctor's head. Kids, please don't try this at home. Oh no, they killed Kenny. Oh, sorry, the Doctor. Or did they? More to be revealed later. Everyone has an envelope hanging. Hang on, who has the envelope with the number 1 on it? It's the Doctor. Well, that was easy to guess. I think the guy running the home was a little bit damaged. Totally, in fact. He should have been the one in the cell, not poor little Mel. Oops, sorry, spoilers. I'm sure we've seen that silence control console somewhere before now. Got it. It was in the room on the top floor of the bungalow in the lodger.
Was it?
Well, you better go and check now, Kirby. You know,
Yeah.
I'm being facetious.
I always wondered why Neil Armstrong paused when he was climbing off the LEM to the moon. River is one hell of a good shot and a very naughty flirt. The way she flirts with the Doctor is so funny, he doesn't know what to make of her. Yeah, I like that. Always putting him on the back foot. Next up, Kirby's favourite. Curse of the Black Spot. See, Kirby? That's what it's called. Even though it should be called Annoy a Ginger by Killing Her Husband. Stay safe and well, everybody. Linda and Terry Miles.
Right,
Glad you're there, guys.
I've got an answer to Kirby's theory about the young lady who's going to be the new companion. It says here on Google, in the UK, there is no age limit to acting. Does that help you out with that one?
Question.
Oh, well, you implied her being 18 was a bit young to be an actor.
Not to be an actor, no. Just
a companion to the Doctor.
She is one.
Hang on, I'll do another question.
Year older
when are you an adult?
Who?
Are you an adult in the UK? When are you
That has nothing to do.
an adult in the UK? Let's see what it says. 18, Kirby. How old is she?
She's 18.
Right, that's for see how old Shooty Gatwa is. How old?
That could be a problem, yeah.
But how old is the Doctor? So he's always going to be massively older than the companion, isn't he? Is
okay.
Gatwa. He's 30, but I don't think he intends to do anything naughty with her.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, the movie that I was referring to with Tom Baker was way before he was the Doctor. Well, no, it was 2 years before. It was the Canterbury Tales, where he was in the Wife of Bath's prologue, and he was entirely in the Wife of Bath's prologue, completely naked.
Thank you for that. I suppose we better move on to the next bit of audio feedback, what I have here.
Well, good evening to anybody. Well, Sandy here. It's 7 o'clock on... No, it's not. 6 o'clock even on Sunday evening. About a bath.
Good Lord.
Being that time of year. And, yeah. Dawn and Storm again. They've just got back from... it's a lovely Dawn and Storm. They've just got back from... they've been up to the Midlands. They've actually stayed in Starport, which is where my dad came from. They met Dawn's sister, and they've been to the Westminster Safari Park and just been introduced to Mr. Frosty the Snowman and a rhino. Oh, the joys of being a father. Anyway, of course, yesterday and today I've done lots and lots of ironing, as I do these days, and I watched The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon, and by golly, were they good. I mean, really, really were very, very good. I mean, we have the opening to The Impossible Astronaut, where the Doctor got shot, and if that's one of those that just smashes you back into your settee, or in my case an armchair, it really was that, just an opening sequence, and it just smashed you, didn't it? It just really did. And then where it went from there, and then you find there's a Doctor that's actually 200 years younger than the one we've seen. And we've got a character where it says, I will see you again, but you won't see... No, I won't see you again, but you will see me again. And what's all that's about? You've got River Song being typically River Song, doing all the things that she does with the Doctor. It just was absolutely superb. And then you get the silence. And who are they? Because that's the whole point. You'd never get an explanation as to who they actually are. And that's why they are just so good. So where do we go from here? We go from here with the Doctor trying to work out what's going on, and of course he's not being told what's going on because the other people are not telling him what's happening, quite rightly so, given that they've been told not to tell. He's actually told them not to tell him what he's doing. It's like, this gets really, really confusing. And what it's doing is setting up so much for the whole of the season, because we move into Day of the Moon, and we get the eye patch lady. Who just seems to be a completely irrelevant character. But of course, as we know, she's not an irrelevant character because she just keeps cropping up and up and up as well. But the way she does it, and the silence themselves are absolutely superb, because the ones that you don't know you've seen them, and therefore you turn around and you don't know they're there, and yet there they are. And the Doctor hijacking the moon landing. Apparently, I actually saw the moon landing. I would have been... July 1969, I would have been just over 4 years old. Apparently, I was sat up and I watched it. Don't actually remember that myself, but one of the most iconic pieces of television history in our lifetime, And the Doctor hijacked it, and then we saw them getting rid of the silence, and we start to understand who the silents are and what they do. And we get to Canton Delaware III, who is, I suppose, you call him a woke character now, isn't he? Because he wants to marry a black man. We get the president, we get Nixon. It's like, good God, what else are we going to shoehorn into this? We get the Doctor being put into an incredible cell, and you understand that actually it's a set up between him and Delaware to get it all going, and Amy and Rawley are both into this. And Amy's pregnant, which of course goes forward. This story just sets up so much to go forwards, and it does it so well, because there is, at the end of it, you see the little girl regenerating, and it's like, what the hell's going on here? It was that good because it just set so much up and left so much hanging in the air. And why can't we just have more stories like this? Stories that are just so good, that just give you so much suspense and leave you thinking, what is going on? And it gets found out later on, and that's what's just so good about this two-parter. So yeah, shame what we're going to come next, but hey, that's life, isn't it? Anyway, until next week, well, I'm assuming it's next week.
Well, not next week.
I've got a church fete, and Zach doing 12 Night to sort out, so goodness knows what I'm going to do next week, but until then, it'll be seeing you.
Oh, is that it? Oh, thank you, Andy.
Yeah, we're not recording for the next 2 weeks. That's what I understood.
Indeed. My mouse has gone funny, so I can't. Oh, there we are. Eventually, it allows me to actually close that. What is going on?
There's something wrong with an Apple product, the perfect products?
No, that's not much the Apple product. It's the thing that the mouse is riding over, which is not defined enough.
Your mouse mat.
Me.
The 20 megabyte mouse mat.
Oh, what I'm going to use my leg. Oh, look, it's working properly now. No, it doesn't. It's not a mouse mat, darling. It's a cutting board. It's a board I would cut up all my paper stuff with it, but I just put the mouse on it so to save space and stuff. I've got another bit of stuff come through. That's quite interesting. But what we're going to do now is make my window alphabetical order, because I can't find the file I'm looking for, and do this. Wait for it to play it half an hour later.
Hello, 20 Megabyte Podcast. This is Ian Kirk.
Hello, Ian.
The Impossible Astronaut, The Day of the Moon. River Song is out of the storm cage again. Do they have locks on that thing? Doctor Who magazine had covers saying one of the main cast would die. They cheated because it was a future version of the Doctor. The question is, if the Silence had been controlling Earth for ages, why did they not stop the Daleks, Cybermen, etc.? Well, it is a science fiction fantasy TV programme.
Yes, it is indeed.
Filmed 11 years ago, Lake Powell, where the lakeside scenes were done, is half empty now.
Oh, well, why? Global warming.
Stephen Moffat really pushed the boat out by going to the USA for real. Then they used the boat for the Doctor's funeral. A small step for Moffat, a giant leap for Doctor Who. Bye for now.
Thank you, Ian.
Master.
Yes, what?
He posted the script online, and I didn't realize it was a script. I thought he was not able to record. Anyway, I responded to that,
yes.
to where he was saying it was a future version of the Doctor. I said, I beg to differ. It's a Tesselecta with the Doctor inside of it. Nobody dies.
No.
And also he says, he refers to the lake as being half empty now. I told him, don't be so pessimistic. It's half full.
Okay. Thank you for that. I've forgotten it was
And
a
then
Tesla.
apparently he
That's
didn't read
also
my comment,
it's like a mini spoiler, that, because I'd forgotten that. Damn.
Yeah, sorry.
Because I thought it was
It's a bit late to be calling spoilers on things that have been out for
No, but I'd
years.
forgotten that. I thought it was because there was like duplicates in another story in this series.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
so I got it in my mind it was that. So thanks for that, Kirby.
Well,
so,
he also says, he responded to me saying, I think the Tesseract had a tiny future doctor inside, which is what I was saying, but yes.
Thank you very much, everybody that contributed to that section of the show. Right then.
Well, where's the section that shouldn't I be reading something from a certain... Should I be reading what Ben normally reads?
Adam, are you ready with the
Well, I was
sunlight?
going to do the comments that have been coming through in the live feed. So we have, before we move on to the next bit, Alan Tabutcher, et al. Surely you mean et al. T. Butcher. Terry Miles, do you mean the Golden Voyage of Sinbad? Reference.
Yes, epic film.
Yeah, no, Tom Baker. And then Terry Miles says, it was offside, Adam. That's talking about the footy.
That's it.
And Tim Drury.
Mention.
Play the whole thing there. Is that the real Adam or a Tesselector? That's and replying to Tim Drury, Terry Miles says, now, no spoilers. Debbie Melrose has some blurb to dictate.
Yeah, but didn't Kirby want it?
So, apparently so, but I sent it to you, so how are we going to get around this issue?
I'm quite happy, but if Kirby's desperate, then
no.
No, he says no.
Okay, if they hang on the ceiling, silence will fall, or the... Sorry.
Yes.
Or the beard of the Doctor. Dear 20 megabytes. That's all it's going to get called now. The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon, is, of course, a closely studied... I haven't said that for ages. Closely studied exploration of trust as a powerful weapon against an establishment such as capitalist or clandestine totalitarian state that manipulates and uses the productive capacity of society from behind the scenes. In such genuine circumstances, it is inherently difficult to identify the antagonists that need to be tackled. And there is usually a mechanism to distract or prevent a clear picture being formed, rather than an easily dismissed and fanciful conspiracy theory which may well have no basis. Bringing in the moon landing clearly brings such nonsense theories to mind in sharp relief to the reality of the genuine problem that can exist. Hence, building trust between the oppressed and real trustable evidence must be identified to begin to tackle it. It should be noted that while some might say...
Supposed to leave a blank in there, by the way, Deb.
Yeah, I know. We're not as slick as you and Ben, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do that again?
No.
They find the story rather confusing and difficult to follow. In fact, Doctor Who is a fantasy sci-fi TV show.
Hey.
Such confusion.
Hey, hang on. You've upset him now.
He's normally not listening.
He was. He just went, hey.
All right, I'm starting this.
Yeah, do that bit again. Go on.
Okay, are you ready, Adam? Okay.
No.
It should be noted that whilst...
No, I've done that bit. No, it's.
I told you
No,
we're
it's
doing it again.
it's the Kirby bit. Oh, go on then.
Okay,
It should be noticed that whilst. Yeah.
It should be noted that whilst... that they find this story rather confusing and difficult to follow. In fact, Doctor Who
Is a
science fiction fantasy TV show.
And
And by the way, did you notice that
that's a long one.
that Captain Kirk said it the way I said? He's referred to it as program.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. I'm really messing this up. I do apologise, everybody. It's just because, quite legitimately, the right things are happening, not necessarily in the right order. So that the showrunner might contentedly say, this is confusion, am I confusing you? We also learn that the ship that pretended to be the top flat of Craig's home in the lodger was a silent ship, which maybe explains the rumour that had been a Jaggeroth ship, since the silence modus operandi appears much as that of Scaroth in the City of Death. All in all, The Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon is an original and dramatic story which kicks off the new season with energy and intent. As this golden age of Doctor Who unfolds, it is clear that there is confidence in the production team that the audience is both committed and smart. The recurring cast has been forged into a very strong and defined lineup, even though key facts remain under wraps. This seems to allow and extend temporary casts like Canton to be brought closer into that outfit. So the narrative is bold and layered, the relationships are solid and clear, and the curtain is lifted quite considerably on the story that will be told over this season. By now, Matt Smith owns the role of the Doctor to a degree maybe not seen for any actor since the 1960s. Or is that the 1970s? Actually, both. This story is perhaps an episode too short, as there must be a load of things that happen that do not get on screen, as they are forgotten by the characters. A bit like Ghostlight, but justified this time. Next up, Doctor Who and the Return of the Smugglers, or Downton Avery. So, those are my thoughts, Alan T. Butcher.
Nice one, Alan.
Sorry, Alan.
They always are.
Oh dear, right then. Hang on, I'm just going to Kirby fill in. No, Debbie fill in. Well, I'll do this a little bit. I didn't.
Kirby fill in. Why not Kirby fill in?
Because we might be here for hours. Debbie fill in.
That's right.
Well, what do you want me to talk about other than the?
Well, I'll only mean I will be stopping you rather abruptly. So it has to be something
that's
that.
Fine, but
no.
I just want to say that I know we say it a bit, but I think we need to send out appreciation to the listeners / viewers who feedback and interact and are part of this. It was also great at FantasyCon to speak to us. For me, I thought it was quite humbling. The number of people who went, yes, I listened to your podcast, was absolutely lovely.
Oh, I did. This is the first time I've heard this.
Yeah, I know. This is. I wasn't on last week, so I wasn't very well.
Oh, yes.
It was because I haven't really fed back to you because we were just sort of always rushing about how nice it was to be on the 20 megabyte table to represent, but to speak to fans, to introduce people to the podcast. There's loads of people took your card, and just people were really interested in the backstory of the podcast, and then how you brought about the con and all that sort of thing. I was basically there, and someone said to me, "You're like the FantasyCon historian librarian in the corner," and I was like,
Paul, Kirby won't like that because he is
I have no problem with that.
Oh, you don't? That's all right then.
No, I was our representative. Honestly, if Kirby was there, I'd be off looking round, and he could sit on the table.
Oh, was that it? Oh, sorry. Joshua Dyball says, hello, 20 megabyte podcasters. Love you all. Loved this episode. Matt looked great in the Stetson.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and Kirby, who was earlier on in this show, was banging on about the youth of the young lady who's playing Summer Pudding, whatever her name is. Who was very good in Coronation Street, so Mary will already know who she is for a couple of years before she got the part of this Summer Pudding, whatever her name is. Right then, so let's look back on other people that were quite young when they became companions of the very old Doctor. Who remembers a character called Dodo, played by an actress called Jackie Lane, who was 18? And with a Doctor who was in his 50s.
That's not my point.
No, we know.
How about Nissa, played by Sarah Sutton, friend of the show?
Trying to.
What?
It's.
Yeah.
The fact that I said it before. It's that she's only a year older than New Who.
You didn't mention that bit, but that is true. That's interesting in itself.
That is what is kind of shocking. Not exactly her age. It's
the fact that she was born around the time that it came back. But the fact that I misunderstood the point trying to make does make it quite interesting. Reading some of these names on this list, like Sarah Sutton, Adric, Matthew Waterhouse, who was 18, Deborah Watling was 19 when she played Victoria, Zoe, played by Wendy Padbury, was 20, quite old really, as was Maureen O'Brien. Katie Manning was 20. Nicola Bryant was 21. So they started to get a bit older. Mark Stritson, 21. A Chameleon that doesn't seem to have an age.
How old was Sophie Aldred?
Karen Gillan was 21. What'd you say?
How old was Sophie Aldred?
3. doesn't come up with her on this list. No, I just thought that was quite interesting to point out. So it sort of seems to be on one of the average ages that a companion seems to be when being selected for a doctor. Ooh. Okay, right. So moving on to the next section of the show. You were talking about FantasyCon, and yeah, it would have been nice if I actually had you on last time when we were talking about it. But we had a meeting on Sunday as to whether to do another one or not, because Cows doesn't seem to want a convention of this type, because they seem to want to make the higher fees of their venues so high that it would scare anybody off unless they happen to be Elon Musk, basically. Beg your pardon?
But it was such a good venue. You'd think that, and also the trade it brings to the town.
But
I understood it's the cost that's the problem.
The cost is, yes. We only want people with the vast sums of money to have events at our places in Cows. So therefore, we've got the message. We're leaving Cows, and therefore moving probably to Newport. So there will at the moment,
5 miles away.
The 4 committee members. We now have a committee consisting of myself. We all got titles, although the others don't know their titles yet. Yeah, we had a meeting at the 8 Bells yesterday, and
I hope it involved a roast dinner.
Well, it actually involved. No, it didn't. No, it involved the person that who, for this instance, sort of sowed the seeds of another convention. That's Deborah Pearson, because I wasn't going to say, okay, we're going to do one. She had to be the one saying, okay, we're going to do one, after being so,
I was going to
vocal
say
in the, oh no, we're not going to do another one. But because obviously this year's event was quite successful, and it showed that it is runnable under certain circumstances, as long as we have a framework and a budget, and we know our limitations. Stick to those limitations. Doesn't matter what the people, people say, oh, not much here. But they haven't said that, to be fair. But they could say that if they wanted to. We have our limitations, and
was about food costs.
We stick to our limitations. Anyway, this is our title. We've got me, a director. We've got Roy Spearman, a technical director. Now he's technical director because he's techie. Debbie Pearson, event coordinator. Basically, she doesn't do anything until the event, and then she basically bosses everybody around and gets everything happening. Everything happens and everything is in order and stuff like that. Although I do actually provide the schedule, she makes sure that schedule works. And Mick Knowles, who's joined the team as logistics manager, he basically fills all the gaps, basically. He's amazing. So that's the organising committee for FantasyCon 2023. I haven't got a date yet. That's the next work in progress thing. So, venue or a venue. We've got potential venue, potential date. We just need to find out which one it is. So but it should be happening, even if it shrinks because of the potential event place we have. That will be the only reason why it would shrink, because we have limited space. But we do need somewhere to put it, and if it happens to be smaller, we just have to make it smaller. End of that. So yes, so thanks everybody who supported, and hopefully. Well, one thing I want to say, and I'll talk about London Comic Con Windsor in a minute, because there is a bit of a link. Is the cosplayers really do need a bit of credit. The ones that supported us through the carnivals and went out every week to give out leaflets, and they came along and contributed heavily to the event. We had a massive cosplay competition, considering how little we were. It was
huge, wasn't it?
And sadly only one Doctor Who entrant in that particular thing, so I wonder who won, but it was a particularly good one. He was the first Doctor, and he was so good, so it would have won it even if there were other Doctor Who entrants. So but yeah, it's very, very good. But I've already talked about the story of the FantasyCon this year, and we'll move on to my experiences, or I say the family's experiences at London Comic Con last week. So for my lack of brain, I'm bringing up the schedule to remind myself of what we did. So we stayed at Sunbury again, which is where we stayed last time, because it's a nice little sort of drop-off point. It's right at the end of the M3, so it's a very
where
quick.
I stayed with you guys when we went to
No,
London?
we didn't stay at Sunbury. No, it would have been a good. No, because where was one we went? That was the XL. So that was that was like East London. This is West London. So the good thing about Sunbury, like I say, it's an hour from Southampton to Sunbury, straight along the M3, no stopping, no getting involved in protests on the M25, because you don't even go on the M25. And this is my plan. It seems to work quite well. And the next day, when you travel to the event itself, previous time we did it took about 45 minutes. This time it took just over half an hour to drive the 10 miles between Sunbury and Olympia. London roads, by the way, before you interrupt me, Kirby, are an absolute nightmare. So once there...
Why would I interrupt you about it?
Once there, we picked up Isabella's diamond pass for Jamie Campbell Bower.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then we started queuing, and we were there probably about 8:45, and thought, okay, we've got about an hour and a quarter here, but at least we're in. We're going to be quite early. 15 minutes later, we moved into this thing, and then suddenly we're in the event. It was open. Well, this is great, you know.
That was early.
It was half the size of London Comic Con Summer. There was a whole hangar that wasn't used. There weren't any activities there, as there were at the other one. The other one they had like gaming and other sort of bits and bobs there. Bearing in mind we did put on activities at ours, I was quite surprised that there weren't, you know. But we had our main thing was to walk around, look at the limited amount of stalls, soak up the atmosphere, look at the cosplayers. Meet some people you really, really wanted to meet, and have our pictures taken. So there was a lot of sitting around, to be fair, but Deb didn't seem to mind that. So yeah, we started on Saturday, waiting for was this Saturday's one? Yeah, waiting for the opportunity to let's do the Sylvester McCoy costume outside the TARDIS shoot, which obviously you may have seen this picture.
I love that.
I wouldn't
picture.
normally have a picture with Sylvester McCoy, but I thought, hang on, I'm wearing the Sixth Doctor's coat, and Sylvester's got his costume on, so I did go for that one. But when it said TARDIS, I thought they'd made up the interior TARDIS. It was just the TARDIS without its light on, so I was a bit disappointed.
Oh, I did wonder about that.
I might as well have just done a picture in the studio with him, but in his costume, which was also available. I didn't bother with the Colin Baker pictures. He was there. The other thing we did, obviously, Isabella had a diamond pass, so the first thing we did was queue for Jamie Campbell Bower's autograph. That didn't take long at all, and I got some video of her meeting him. And I don't know if you've seen the video. It's the expression of her face when she's sort of she's realised that she's met him, she's all sort of
I know,
shocked,
yeah.
and so like she's actually seen the real Vecna, you know. So. And then after she'd done that, I went to have a picture with Julian Glover. His queue was quite short, but he was quite charming. He shook my hand, and it was quite nice to meet him because he's a bit of a legend. And the studio next door, Harry Lloyd was there, and I went in to meet him, and I said I absolutely loved the film.
Family of Blood.
I loved Richard III. No, it wasn't called. It was called Lost King. And he was, oh, thanks, dude, and shook my hand. It was again, nice coat, he said. Yeah. So that was quite nice. And then there was a bit of a gap before Robert Picardo. And again, I thought, well, I've got this coat on, I've got my sonic screwdriver, so I gave the sonic screwdriver to. I said, "Do you want a prop?" And he took it. He sort of looked a bit confused. And in the picture, you see what he did with it, which wasn't too bad considering he didn't know what I was wearing or what the sonic screwdriver was. I did explain later to him what that was all about, but it was quite amusing, and it did produce a brilliant picture with somebody I was actually really rarely starstruck with, to be fair. I was probably more starstruck with him than I was with Christopher Lloyd, simply because he was the reason I stuck with Voyager, because I absolutely loved the Doctor in Voyager, and he made it for me, that series.
He did, yeah. He was standout in that. I mean, my dad obviously watched every Star Trek going, and Voyager was one that we actually sat down together watch rather than sort of catching every now and then. We actually made a mission to watch it, and he's absolutely sensational.
Well, we subscribed to the VHSs.
I was so jealous.
Yeah, so that was really cool meeting him. Then there was the upside down set pictures, because where Isabella got the Jamie Campbell Bower package, her package was the autograph in a studio shoot. So we then swapped, so she could I had the studio shoot with Jamie Campbell Bower, and she had her portrait in the upside down set with him. I actually think the picture of me with him, he looks better because he's doing he's got a serious expression on his face, and I absolutely love that photo, the one he did with me, and she absolutely loves the picture she got with him. So we're both one on that one.
Win for both of you.
Yes. And then of course
it looked amazing. So many people I know went and were posting all the way through it. It looked fantastic.
Yeah, you're walking around that top area where all the celebrities were all quite well spaced out. They put Jamie Campbell Bower next to David Tennant. Was it David Tennant first day? I think it was actually.
Was it Ty?
No, it was on the second day. No, Ty Tennant was on the second day. Sorry, David Tennant was there on the second day. But they put the big celebrities in an encased sort of area, so you couldn't really see them unless you queued for them. But people like Robert Picardo and Michael Ironside were clearly on view and stuff, so it was quite interesting. The last one was Michael Ironside was advertised. He couldn't make the last one, but he didn't look very well in the pictures, but he actually looked like his old self at the event this time. So I didn't actually meet him or anything, but I did look at him.
You looked at him.
There he looks. Of course, there was the Matt Smith House of Dragon picture, which Deb had, and she's thrilled with. We've actually had that printed
Debbie
and framed.
Her name, Queen of Scissors.
She is thrilled with that picture and
that is
about
wonderful.
It.
I hope she's put that up on the wall.
No, it's up on in our other room on top of the wall, the cupboard. So she's thrilled a bit. So she was in a really good mood after having that picture done. I didn't actually meet or see Matt Smith. Oh no, I did when he shadowed. I sort of lifted my phone up and got a sneaky shot of her, having it done with him. So it was quite a thin day in regards to photographs and stuff on the Saturday. The next day, bear with. Oh, it's what a good idea of mine doing it like this, because I can actually remind myself Sunday. So Isabella wasn't keen on getting up too early because our day was going to start a bit later, but I wanted to miss the traffic, so we sort of did set out slightly later because we had to pack anyway because we had to go home straight after the event. But so the first shoot was Jodie Whittaker's studio shoot, which I gave Deb because I'd bought one with Jodie, and then they brought out her in the coat pictures right in the last minute. I was like, I want her in a coat, So there's a Jodie Whittaker shoot available, which I gave to Deb, and she had the first one with her, and she's so lovely, as Deb said, as she came out the studio. Oh look, she came and she gave me a hug, and so she was thrilled with her picture. Then the Bonnie Langford was the next one, and again I sort of gave her the sonic screwdriver, and she sort of looked a bit confused with it. I suppose she was in character then, because there wasn't such a thing as a sonic screwdriver when Sylvester or Colin were the doctors.
Exactly, they didn't need that silly wand waving Sylvester said. I love that.
So during all, there was a bit of waiting around and buying stuff. They had Tribbles there. They were so good. You clap your hand, they go, and you clap the hand and they go their squeaky noise when the Klingons.
I got my dad one.
Yeah. Oh my God, they were so good, and they would have added to my my cosplay because I was the red shirt on the second day, and I bought a phaser because it was only £22. They bought out these brand new classic series phasers, so I've got that now and my shirt, and maybe next year if I can get a triple I can have all three, and it's a bit of an ensemble. But yeah, they had tricorders, were a bit expensive. I didn't buy one of them, but I'm thinking of adding it to my little cosplay setup. But so that was good. Bonnie Langford was very nice. It was one of those things I had to do because it was Doctor Who companion I hadn't met, although Alicia met her at one of the shows she did in the West End many years ago, but I didn't get a chance to.
I saw her and Sylvester in chat.
Oh yes, I met Sylvester,
but I never met her for a picture or anything.
I forgot I saw Sylvester before I met him in a show at the Mayflower, because Colin Baker had actually performed on the Isle of Wight the day before this event at Shanklin Theatre. Just saying. He did that thing with Terry Malloy, the Doctor Who and Sherlock Holmes thing at Shanklin Theatre. It was like a radio play on stage. What else happened? Oh yeah, and that also during this period, I decided it might be a good idea to go for a wee. So I went into the toilet and
Lovely, thank you.
And who was I stood next to having a wee? Robert Picardo. which the bloke in the cube. The bloke in the cubicle a bit further down said, "This goes a whole new spin on Voyager." And anyway, and after that, I think he went for lunch, went back to his table, and there was nobody at his table. So I walked round there to sort of, can you sign the photograph from that you got the previous day, you know? But on my way round there, Frank Skinner just had to be ambling past, and everybody sort of around. I thought, better get this picture quick before I lose the chance. So I got a picture with him. A very nice chap as was too. And then I went round to see Robert and sort of, could you sign this for me? And I explained what the picture and the Sonic Rover and Doctor Who and stuff like that. And it was very nice.
Because he's been to so many conventions where I've seen pictures of him
Yeah.
with doctors going, look, it's
but
the
I'm not sure he understands about the coat, the Sixth Doctor coat,
okay.
what the ensemble was and the Sonic. Anyway, he accepted. He was all right. He was a very nice man. I didn't say anything about the Wii, of course. And Paddy Considine was it's his first ever convention, and Deb's a big fan of that series he was in, and Isabella is a big fan of him in that film with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. What was that one called?
World's
One with the aliens.
World's End.
World's End, that's it, yeah. So she's a big fan of that film, and of course Paddy was in that, and she wanted a picture with him on the back of that, and Deb wanted a picture with him.
I only found
on
out
the
the
back
other day one of my friends worked on his makeup on House of the Dragon.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
was like, wow, lucky you.
But again, he some of the actors would do all sorts of elaborate poses. Jodie would do it. David Tennant, I only briefly saw David Tennant because when I was getting ready for a photo shoot, I was putting the coat on, and he came past and said, "Oh, nice coat," in his broad Scottish accent. And of course, Deb and Isabella go, "Oh, look, he should have been filming that." You know, it's really quite exciting. But yeah, at least he sort of noticed me and mentioned about Ali's coat. But yeah, so during that period, Deb went downstairs and had her picture with Paddy Considine on the Iron Throne. That picture it's beautiful. But Paddy didn't change his pose for any of these pictures. I've seen them all on I could post a link if you want to see all the pictures from the Comic-Con. They're all on this Comic-Con page. You just look at each one. And when Isabella had her picture with that young lady, Elodie Grace Orkin, who played the girl who bullied 11 in Series 4.
Got the skates in the face.
One of the girls had the 11 costume and the roller skate. It's an absolutely superb picture. Elodie reacts to this roller skate, and it's just so good. And Isabella's picture was just straight after that one. Katie Manning. So I went in to see Katie, and I said, we had the picture. She grabbed my scarf and wrapped it around herself. So we had the picture, and I said, Katie, that's 50 years I've waited for that. And she grabbed my hand and said, "Oh, I do hope it was worth it." So I thought that was really charming. I think Katie might have been the last one. I went back I thought I'd get my picture signed by her, but she'd gone. So maybe I might get a chance to meet her again one day. You never know. And Bonnie Langford. I think that was about it, really. So yeah, and after the very last picture, which was Elodie Grace Orkin, off we went back to the Isle of Wight, and I got lost again because it was very confusing with the sat nav. But yeah, so that's London Comic Con.
When we drove back as well.
Pardon?
When I came back with you, we got lost as well, didn't we?
Yeah, well, sometimes sat navs can be confusing.
So you have navigation?
Yeah, but it's
what do you think a sat nav is?
British roads are different.
No, it's just the sat nav will say on the next at the next junction, at the lights, turn left, then turn right. So I arrived at that, turned left, and then went to turn right. But the right actually was supposed to be another 300 yards up the road. So that confused me. And this happened on both the Saturday and the Sunday on the way back. It sort of got very frustrating.
So
but eventually we got home.
Doesn't it show you a map so you can see?
Yes, but I can't look at the map while driving, Kirby. I'm looking through a windscreen. Anyway, the thing is, right, Isabella was really keen on getting...
enough that I can see the map.
My mum navigates
Never
from
mind.
the back.
Isabella was really keen on whether we caught the 7:30 boat. And despite that, we literally drove into the ferry terminal at 7:29, drove straight onto the ferry, which was really cool. So I felt like I'd really achieved something getting back for that ferry. So, yeah, they also had stage talks, but unfortunately had to pay extra to go to the stage talks. So
that's random.
It is random, yeah. Some of them were free, but most of them you had to pay for, so we didn't do that at all because the only thing we watched was one of the cosplay competitions.
Going to a con if you haven't got much to do. Let's go and have a so and so having a
They
chat.
certainly don't charge at Wales Comic Con, and I know they've got a lot of really good people, which I'm coming on to in a minute. And these might be boring people. Don't care. It's my show.
No,
yeah, so
it's not boring me.
Is it
no,
not?
I'm really interested. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the stage show at London Comic Con, they did indeed have lots of really interesting people. As I say, the cosplay competition was minute compared to ours. It was just quite astounding. You know, so it made me rather proud of what our cosplay had achieved. But there were some fab cosplay, and everybody was quite happy to have their picture taken. This bloke come up to me, and I did show you the picture. Can my daughter have a picture taken with you because we've missed Colin?
Yeah, I saw that picture.
Yeah, I love that. You know.
I wasn't even in full blown cosplay, so it was really fab. I was quite chuffed by that. Right, so next week we won't be recording because we're doing Wales Comic Con. Now I'm more excited, although
you were just at a convention.
meeting Jodie, although she was a bit late. I didn't mention this, but it was right. Well, so everybody else had met her and had their picture with her because I forgot to mention about Isabella paid £200 out of her own money to have a David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker combined picture. So she's done that on that Sunday. Fab picture, by the way. And but of course my bit was the Jodie in a coat. So she was 15 minutes late for her shoot, and she turned up, and her sort of her helper hung sort of like a suit sort of holder up on a hook round the corner. Anyway, she came. Oh God, what's she going to be doing? She's going to be changing around the corner. What's going on here? Anyway, she eventually came in and just got into like pose mode. And there's no, Jodie, around the corner. What? Oh yeah. She put her coat on and she did all these pictures. And she's fab. And I went up to her and said, "Well, you've lost yours, so you can borrow mine." And that's basically what the picture is. Fab in it. I love it. And it's got pride of place on my wall now. That picture with Jodie.
I'm so glad I managed to find all my pictures the other day because my sister went to Plymouth Con and she was sharing pictures, and I was like, I've got to find mine. Mine is somewhere, and found them all. They're great.
But I mean, she was so lovely, and she looks exactly like she did in the show. It's really weird because you meet some of the doctors a few years after, don't you? Obviously, we met Capaldi when he was still the Doctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, she looks exactly the same hairdo. She's got the coat on. The only thing she could do, I wore her T-shirt for her, so it really did. The picture itself, I love. So I might have to move it to a more pride place. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. It was fab. I really enjoyed that. But I'm more excited about Wales Comic Con. And you'll hopefully understand why when I've actually found the page I'm going to look for. Here we go. This is the page. Okay, right. So most of these people we've got photo ops with, because who do you say no to? Because Christopher Eccleston, there's not that many opportunities to meet him. I'm keeping my fingers crossed he's still going to be there because I know it's less than a week to go now. But that's another one ticked off, you know. So obviously got a picture with him.
Don't tick him off.
But the thing I've been sort of going to bed with a smile on, thinking, oh my God, if George Takei does come along, that is immense for me to meet George Takei and have my picture taken with George Takei in my Star Trek costume. So that, I mean, those two names straight away, I'm already starstruck before I've even seen anybody, and yeah, that's going to be fun. Of course, Danny Trejo, which Isabella's really excited about. Brett Gelman, who plays Murray in Stranger Things. Again, we all love Murray. We think he was one of the best characters in Stranger Things. So we're all really excited about meeting him. Malcolm McDowell I haven't got a picture with, and I was thinking, he's a legend. I really want to meet him, but you know, I've got all these pictures of other people. So, but yeah, he's one of the more expensive ones. But Malcolm McDowell. It was like they had Ian McDermott a couple of years ago, and I think, well, I can't, The other person they got, there's Vivian Lyra Blair, who plays Princess Leia in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, brilliant.
We did get a picture with her because I think she's a rising star. But I'm just going to see well, she's quite tiny. She's got to be tiny. She looks tiny in the series, so I'm interested to see how that pans out. I didn't get an autograph with her because I think her autograph is going to change with time. She's 11? So she's quite young. Nick Frost, obviously, is, we just talked about in World's End, one of Isabella's favourite sort of groups of films, so she's really excited. She's also excited herself about meeting an actor called Andrew Scott, who I've never heard of. Apparently he was in Sherlock and a few other things. But,
he was in This Life. That was really good.
But, now I quite like Star Trek, don't you? Now, I was a Star Trek fan years before I was a Doctor Who fan, don't you? So you'll know I have a particular liking for a series called Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So when Anson Mount was announced quite a long time ago, I snapped up the opportunity to have a picture with Anson Mount. And then what did they go and do? They put Ethan Peck, Christina Chong and Jess Bush in a photo op together with Anson Mount. So I bought that one, hoping they all do still turn up, leaving an Anson Mount picture available. So I said, does you two want a picture of Anson? I don't know who he is. Anyway, so when I said to Isabella that he was in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness as the Black Bolt, is that a character you've heard of? Is that the Black Bolt? I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, look it up, Kirby. Anson Mount, Marvel, the MCU, and he also is in a series that is no longer on anymore. I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, he played a character in MCU, which then made Isabella interesting, having it as a photo op. So we went for that one. Mark Shepherd, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's there every single time it's on. I don't know if he lives in this country, but he certainly likes doing Wales Comic Con. Eve Miles.
Oh, lovely.
Friend of the show, Gareth David Lloyd.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. There's loads of other people I've never heard of, like Andrew Gower, Sophie Skelton, Stephen Cree, Drew Powell, Steve Downs, Jen Taylor, Troy Baker. Got a cough.
Wow, I've not got a cough yet.
Yeah. Eduardo Franco. Yeah, thank you. Eduardo Franco plays Argyle in Stranger Things. I think he was one of the sort of shining stars of that series. I've got a Funko Pop of this here, and we've bought an autograph with him as well. So I've got a photo and autograph with Eduardo Franco, and that's going to be my only autograph of the whole thing, because I like to get, if I'm going to get an autograph, it's going to be a Funko Pop. David Morrissey's there, but we haven't got a picture with him. Matt Lintz is there. He was in Ms. Marvel as Ms. Marvel's best friend, but we're not going to have a picture with him. Chris Barry is there, but I forgot to mention I met him at London Comic Con Winter.
He's so much shorter than I thought.
Signed the photo. If anybody's watching the live feed, here is the signed picture of Chris Barry. Move it a bit closer to the camera. There it is. And he does look different without his toupee on, that's true. It's an amazing cast. Janet Fielding, who obviously was my first crush the first time I ever got an autograph back from a Doctor Who actor. Finally get to meet her and have a picture with her. Fab. Sophie Aldred's there. Gemma Redgrave, I'm having a picture with her. A modern day Doctor Who icon. Will Mellor's supposed to be there, but I think he'll be doing Strictly. Peter Davison there, and he's doing pictures in his suit. The only ones in this country. Obviously, I'll be up for that one, won't I? Sylvester McCoy's there, but again, already had that picture with him. The cast is at Wales Comic Con is just phenomenal, and I'm amazed that. Well, it's been a while, but Deb says there's nobody there for her. Sean Biggerstaff. I haven't got a picture with him, but I know that Alan Rickman held Sean Biggerstaff in very high esteem, and appeared with him in 2 Harry Potter films as well. David Bradley, if he's there, another Doctor ticked off the list. So if I can get him and Eccleston, that's it. I've more or less completed the available Doctors
list. The entire set.
Yeah.
You've completed the set, yeah.
So actually, this is why I'm particularly excited about next weekend. And
why aren't we recording the weekend after?
Gushing, no. And the weekend after, I'm filming the Theatre Train shows.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the week
Yes.
after that, I think we're heading towards Crimbo Land, aren't we? The
Yeah.
week after that,
Yay.
we're heading towards the New Year Land. So I've got a funny feeling this is the last show of the year. So if I just clear, so I've got
Right.
filming.
Like that.
Are we doing the 18th or not?
May well be. I'm not sure what's going on. I know Deb's
My
got to do some
birthday
filming.
episode.
I think Deb's got filming
I'm going to sit
something
here
that
and
day.
do an Andy to have a drinking
Yeah,
snort.
that could be it. We could be filming. We could be recording on the 18th. It is true.
So that would be Curse of the Bad Plot.
So we'll keep that in as a possibility
right,
at the
doing
moment.
that, we could leaving the year on.
But,
on
yes.
that high note.
I apologise. Anybody got a bit bored by my gushing about those?
Oh, no, it was
Oh, I had
my
no problem at
goodness!
all.
I'm so excited. Now, of course, I'll be talking about it. Hopefully, even more so on the next show. Oh, hang on. Apparently, Spain are 1-0 up. Oh, they are. I'll have to rewind and see what happened with the goal. And then Alan T. Butcher, that was Terry Miles. Alan T. Butcher says, likewise, I had a P next to Peter Mandelson once. And Alan T. Butcher said, Kirby thought a sat-nav only tells you where to sit. Oh, dear. Right, so let's have a look. Doctor Who news. But isn't it exciting? Oh, I can't wait to meet George Takei.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I typed in YouTube by mistake. When we're looking at Doctor Who news, isn't it, Doc?
Who news and sponsors?
Who news. And let me do Doctor Who news first. I want to see what Who one's got up for grabs.
Is that who.co.uk?
Oh, it would be interesting. You might have to ask. What's his name? Meninda. Yes, I should remember that quite easy. Should ask Meninda whether it was indeed his jumper that appeared on Sylvester. Right, so new Guinness World Record for Doctor Who. Guinness World Records have confirmed that Doctor Who has earned another entry in the Guinness Book of World Records since the screening of The Power of the Doctor last month. The record for the longest gap between TV experiences for an actor playing the television character is now held by William Russell for his portrayal of the first Doctor companion, Ian Chesterton. Russell first played Chesterton in the first episode of Doctor Who in 1963, and he stayed with the series for 2 years, appearing in 77 episodes. His last appearance was Planet of Decision, the final episode of The Chase, broadcast on the 26th of June 1965, and then he appeared on the 23rd of October 2022, 57 years and 128 days later.
120 days.
What are you on about? It says 57 years and 128 days later.
Zeros and 8.
Millie Gibson joins the TARDIS crew. Very pretty girl, and I think she'll be fab. And I think RTD knows what he's doing in regards to castings. And I'm really excited to see what Ncuti's costume's going to look like. I've seen some sort of guesses, which are quite interesting. Who
knows? Maybe he'll wear a different thing every.
A different
story.
thong? No, I don't think he'll wear a different thong. Right, so whowon.co.uk.
So whowon.co.uk?
Going to excite me with products. And it's interesting, actually, while I type this on, that B&M seem to be continuing their exclusive gift sets of figures for Doctor Who. And you have to get in really quick to get the good ones, apparently. I have got a set behind me of theirs, but they do have a really good set. Apparently there's also, not necessarily a B&M set, of the regeneration set of Jodie and Tennant, but which Tennant doesn't look anything like Tennant in, so keep an eye out for that one. whowon.co.uk, coming soon for Crimbo. We got the 8th Doctor, What Lies Inside, which is a Doctor Who audio story. After the War, which is it's a Blake Seven story. These are all on pre-order, by the way. Death in Venice, Torchwood, not real torture because obviously Barrowman's not in it, but friend of the show, Russell,
say that all the time.
Gareth David Lloyd might be in it. I'm not sure. It doesn't actually give the cast on it. It's only a little picture they give. 11th Doctor Chronicles 3, Geronimo. I'm surprised that Aaron hasn't provided one of his audios for this, but there you go. Master 2 Nemesis Express, featuring Eric Roberts, who I've had my picture taken with. He's a very nice man. Rose Tyler, Dimension Canon 2. So Rose has got her own series. So that's good, isn't it? 7th Doctor Sullivan and Cross AWOL. 10th Doctor Classic Companions. And these are all sort of Big Finish audio stories, novels, whatever. So they're all available at whowon.co.uk. and I'm just going to see what comes up with figures. So they got the figures that they've had for a while, which is Friend and Foes of the 13th Doctor, which is obviously the Yaz and Ryan and a Judoon, and the Unit 1971 Claws of Axel set, which features the Brigadier, Benton and Captain Yates, and the Companions of the Fourth Doctor, featuring the two Romanas and Sarah Jane Smith, and the Terror of the Zygon set, which I think has Benton, Brigadier and Doctor with Scottish garb on. So yeah, some good stuff there. And that's all at whoon.co.uk, lavazi.co.uk. Now, I think that if McCoy had been wearing a Lavazi jumper in the programme, that he would be shouting from the hills. However, even if it isn't, it's still probably one of the best renditions of that you can get, especially they've re-released the umbrella, which McCoy had in the photos. So, particularly good place to get Doctor Who cosplay. And the scarves, I did wear my scarf for some of the day, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I love that scarf." And when I said about the regeneration set of Jodie and Tennant, the figure of Jodie was the one when she wakes up and says, "What am I wearing?" You know, with the scarf and the Sylvester's jumper and the right sort of hodgepodge of costuming, which is basically what I was doing at the event over the weekend. So, yeah, Lavazi's the place to go to get some absolutely fab Doctor Who wearables. I'm not going to mention about the scarves. I just did, didn't I, accidentally? God. So you can get bags, umbrellas, sweaters, jumpers, including the Fifth Doctor's cricket jumper. So, yeah. That's the place to go. And of course, if you want to join their mailing list, it's always a good idea because of new products coming up. You can submit fan fiction to their blog. I think Melinda does a fab job catering for Doctor Who fans, to be fair.
Absolutely.
I think that's about it in regards to what I was going to say. Let's see what everybody's saying on the line.
I think you went on about all that stuff, which was interesting.
Oh, Germany's interesting.
Then we discussed the story.
Are you being cheeky again?
Yes, he is.
Lillian Robin says, "Why didn't you read in my comment above? Why didn't you read my comment above about your picks?" Hang on, where did she say that? Except your labels don't mention Doctor Who. What labels? Yeah, well, it was right. Me and Tim Drew. Hang on, better play the music because I mentioned them again. T A B C D E F G. No, that's not it. Let's do it by alphabetical order. So I'm contracted to play this. Yes, me and Tim had a bit of a sort of discussion because when I posted the pictures, when you post a picture, it takes time to write captions when you post a lot of them, and I feel that people should automatically know where these are famous people, who they are. But me and him disagreed on that one, so I tried to over elaborate on the the captions.
They don't always look like if they get older, they don't look like they looked. And also, not everyone has seen everything. I know I haven't.
I've got some in here in a bag in this red bag. We talked about Michael Jaston and Joseph Milson, who very cheekily got me to spend my own money on printing out lots of prints for them. So I've actually got lots of signed pictures of them. There's Joseph Milson there, when he was in Casualty, and a chap called Michael Jaston. Now, Debbie, you do really need to collect one of these. Michael Jaston. There it says the Vale Yard. Oh no, so it's the Brickyard. I told you he didn't like that Brickyard thing. He thought it was a stupid idea. So yeah, I have lots of these. I don't know how I'm supposed to, distribute them or sell them or whatever the actors want. I guess they wanted me to sell them because I think they realised I did spend a lot of money getting these printed out, and it was indeed their agent's fault that they weren't printed out because the agent didn't actually pre-warn me because I would have said no. But yeah, so I have got Michael Jason Valley Pictures, one of which is Debbie's. But I will say the gold ink that they wrote their autographs with is terrible. It wears off.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's what happened with mine, but with water as well. So yeah.
No, it just wears off. It just rubs off. All the black ink ones, where they've been in a stack, have not worn off at all. But that gold stuff, which makes me particularly worried about my Christopher Lloyd Funko Pop up there, which has got. He's written with.
I've got a picture.
Right,
I've got an autographed picture of Caitlin Blackwood that she signed it with a black Sharpie, but you can barely see it.
That's the problem I've got with my John Barrowman Funko Pop, where they sign the window of the Funko Pop. The permanent marker doesn't stay permanent long enough, and I've completely lost my John Leeson signing of K9 now. It's completely gone. So it's frustrating. So if I get Eduardo Franco to sign his Funko Pop, I'm going to get him to sign the actual this bit, the picture rather than the actual window on it. I've learned from that, but Christopher Lloyd did in fact sign the window of it. It's quite, you can see it now, but it does worry me that, in time that'll
do something
flake
like put
off.
it under glass or something.
No, I did ask her about doing that on social media sites. It devalues if you cover an autograph with anything, and if you laminate it or whatever, it devalues it.
No, I mean just put it under a glass dome.
A glass dome.
Yeah.
The
green dome.
The other thing I forgot to mention was
somewhere. Put it under that.
A chap called Nigel Parkinson, who's one of the illustrators at Beano, did a picture of me. I did a few other pictures of people around the event, but I thought that was really cool. So I've got a thing that says Adam the Menace.
You're talking about the guy who does the Dennis the Menace,
he's one of the
Dennis the Menace.
Yes, he's one of the cartoon.
That's so strange that the two Dennis the Menaces appeared for the first time in the same year, and I had never heard of yours until many, many years later.
Yes. So yeah, that was quite cool. And of course, Adam Brown, who did my caricature at FantasyCon. So I've got them up on the wall over there. I suppose I could show you. You'll have to watch the video of.
I suppose.
So there's me, done by Adam Brown.
Kirby.
And if I zoom in, there's me, done by Nigel Parkinson from the Beano. And Deb's the one that put up all the Christmassy tinsel. And over there, actually, while we're up here, I know I've posted these already, but there's the Pride of Place picture of myself with the ex-Doctor next to Barrowman. Robin! And, of course, next to the Doctors, next to Sarah Sutton's signed picture.
You're running out of wall space, aren't you?
Yeah, I have. I have to substitute now. Where's me? Where's Debbie? I'm sure you're up here somewhere, Deb. There she is, with
up about somewhere.
Mark Gatiss there. That'll probably be the next one that gets taken down to fit in a picture from the next event. And of course, current review companions, Arthur Darville and Alex Kingston. And there, you said about Mark Sheppard. There's Matthew Lewis. Zoom in. There's Mark Sheppard. There he is. I want the camera right there. Mark Sheppard cuddling someone in the background. And of course, can't get this one anymore. Where is it? Ponjertwy. So yeah, and of course, a friend of the show. I wish we could get her back. There is Daphne Ashbrook with 20 megabyte mug.
Cool.
So, lots of stuff. Oh, of course, there's one of the Doctors up there. Yeah. So oh yes, this picture here, very exclusive.
You complain when I name drop.
Yeah. No. And Doctors galore and all stuff falling over in my little corner of figures there. So, oh yes, and there's some other ones here. Look, yes. They're all over the place.
It won't impress you, but it'll impress Debbie if I say I've met and have the autograph of Robert Heinlein.
Who?
Fantastic.
See?
Don't know who you're talking about.
I know you don't.
Lillian says further up. What do you mean further up?
What'd you say, Debbie?
I said only one of the greatest novelists of all time.
Yes.
Lillian says further up. Lillian, how further up? Would you want the Matthew Waterhouse picture, or do you want me with McCoy and Mary's boyfriend, or me with John Leeson and K9? That's the only thing further up, I'm afraid. Oh, and Matt Smith and David Tennant up in that corner over there. No, I can't. Anyway, yeah, it's 1-1 with the football match at the moment, so I might catch the last 5 minutes of it. I'm lucky. So yes, hopefully 2 weeks time.
No, 3 weeks.
No, my comment. Oh, the further up comment. Oh, further. Hang on, I'm going further up, Lillian. Lillian.
3
hi.
weeks. Not...
Yeah, there you are. She says hi. Oh, that was at the beginning though, wasn't it? And then she says, "Oh, good. You did label the pics. Thank you." Oh, is that what she means? Thank you, Lillian. Oh, she's lovely, isn't she? Hashtag Lillian's legs. Right. So, yeah, that's about it. I've probably forgotten
What about
something.
what we've been watching?
I told you I've forgotten something. Now,
Oh, by the way,
what
did you
did I
check your
watch?
recording levels?
Right, I tell you what. I think something. What? It's a bit late now.
I do hope everyone's been watching Wednesday.
No.
Absolutely.
No, I'll tell you what I've been watching. I'll tell you what, and I highly recommend this. I know you lot are into archaeological and history programs, but
Yes, they are.
there's a series on Netflix. I hope it's still on my phone. I can actually relate to it straight away. Bear with. I sent it to Elaine, didn't I? I sent it to Elaine. I sent the link to Elaine. Bear with. There it is. Now I better go straight to it. Right.
What is it?
Bear with. It's called Ancient Apocalypse.
Ancient Apocalypse. Oh.
Ancient Apocalypse. Right then, on Netflix. Now.
Let's see. Oh, it is on Netflix. It's on our Netflix too.
Yes, but isn't it like just rather like just feeding into conspiracy theorists?
No. There's he backs it up with visiting the places connected to this.
Oh yeah, no. It will be conspiracy stuff because of who's doing it.
Yes.
I would put quotes around journalists.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna before you completely
he's a
poo.
kook. He's a kook.
Isn't he a Quanon guy?
For God's sake! Before you
possibly.
can I speak? Before you
No, because you're talking about something that we
You're
don't
talking about someone who doesn't know anything.
Right.
I'm not going to watch this.
Be quiet. Let me speak, because you might have a different opinion to all the listeners. Before you completely poo-poo hit the idea of it, a lot of the stuff within the series makes sense. Yes, the balance may not be there in regards to traditional archaeology, but the fact that lots of these civilizations around the world, these ancient civilizations, had the same stories and the same hieroglyphs and the same depictions of stuff makes it very interesting. And yes, they do need to do it, but it can't be because of. But even if you watch it by way of a romantic ideal, like we would watch potentially, a fake history story that, like we watch in Doctor Who sometimes,
stuff on the History Channel.
Yeah, but it's compelling. It really is.
I wouldn't give him the time of day.
Jesus Christ!
Not at all.
It's compelling. It's very interesting. It's always a good idea to keep your eyes open. Basically, if anybody's listening,
I bet I could watch it.
Never mind whether it's
tick off. You want pedantic? I bet I could be extremely pedantic on that.
Well, actually,
whatever.
I'd watch this with you just to experience that.
Can I bloody finish?
Like a pedantic, but not as bad as shit.
For anybody who does want to watch it, the idea is that there were advanced civilizations on Earth before the Ice Age, and that the Ice Age was initiated by a disaster involving the tail of a comet which then created a winter which resulted in the Ice Age, etc., etc. But there's lots of other bits, to do with the flood and all this malarkey. But it's really interesting. So shut your faces. Anyway, right then. So whether it's true or not, it was interesting. I forgot what I was going to.
Okay,
what I got up to now. Yeah.
Master.
Oh, you've been watching.
Strange New Worlds, another thing I've been watching.
Master,
That's really quite cool. Yes.
Google Ancient Apocalypse Debunked, and you've got lots. Okay. Netflix criticized for pushing dangerous conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm. Dangerous? It's like 50,000 years in the past.
It's bullshit. I'm sorry.
How is it dangerous?
It is.
Why?
It is.
It's like 50,000 years ago. How's it dangerous? I don't get it.
Well, it's like Isabella saying that the moon landing.
Oh, right. Okay,
exactly.
fine. All right. Right. Yeah, but there was a bit in it where he said they went to this place and he wanted to show something about it, but he wasn't allowed on the land and stuff. So
Kirby.
Yeah.
What?
Isn't this guy a Holocaust denier as well?
Probably.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm glad they didn't mention that bit because I would
on
annoy
Twitter
me.
wrote, "Why have I watched 6 episodes of this? This bloke's clearly off his effing head."
Yeah. Okay. Well, I found
This show is a dangerous menace, peddling a historical blather, debunked archaeology, and guesswork as theory.
Okay. I
First
accept
episode, said in West Java, left my jaw on the floor.
Okay, I don't like the anti-Semitic aspect of it at all. What I'm saying is, all I'm trying to say is I enjoyed the series. I thought it was quite compelling.
This. It's garbage.
Oh, good grief!
Sorry, Adam, but yeah.
It was compelling. It was quite
Okay,
entertaining.
what else? Okay, you've been watching Stranger. You're not done with Stranger
I
Worlds
haven't even
yet?
finished what I was bloody talking about. Carry on.
Go ahead.
That's
Wednesday.
Strange New Worlds, which I'm trying to watch in a slow, a slow way, so I enjoy it more. I've still got to watch Discovery.
Wait.
What?
When those were coming out, I could not wait.
I do have other things to do, Kirby.
Yeah, we've
so do I.
started catching up with things that that we missed most of. We spent
I'm
most of the summer
desperate
out
to watch
garden.
The Crown, but Deb won't let me. Said nope. She says nope. You've got to edit this. Nope. You've got to edit that.
It's just so silly. It was brilliant.
I want to watch it, but she won't let me. I might have to sneakily watch it. Of course, Strictly Come Dancing, magnificent series, and the very amusing I'm a Celebrity, Getting Me Out of Here, which we watch. I'm quite glad it's coming to end soon, so we can watch something else.
Hancock wins. It's going to be ridiculous.
Cock wins.
No, if he does.
No, I want Jill Scott to win. Jill, I might actually have to vote for her to make sure that happens. Right then, go on then, Debbie. You were talking about Wednesday. It is Sunday at the moment, listeners, so don't get confused.
Wednesday is brilliant. We're watching it with Isla, so we can't binge it, and all we desperately want to do is binge it, but be in desperate trouble if we do that. Managed to avoid quite a lot of spoilers and things, and it's just brought me and Tom and Isla together again in accord about a programme, and Isla has finally agreed to join us in watching Andor because it's Star Wars she needs to see. She loves Star Wars, and yet for some reason she put her heels in about Andor. It's like, you've got to watch
I have too. I don't get
why.
Don't tell me that bloke who did the fake archaeology is one of the producers, Kirby, is he?
Actually, I'll tell you what, I have been watching on Netflix. I've been revisiting English Castles, British Castles, that TV show with Dan Jones.
Oh, is it back?
Yeah, it's back on.
A new series?
It's not a new season, but it's back on Netflix, and that is just wonderful.
I've watched all of them. I loved that. And there's another series he did,
yeah.
Debbie. There's another series he did. Oh, it was that series.
We watch, when we can't think of anything else to watch, Tom and I watch Abandoned Engineering all the time. Absolutely love Abandoned Engineering. That is one of the best programmes ever. I've been listening to quite a few audiobooks. I've been re-listening to all my Doctor Who audiobooks and on that I've got on Audible, which aren't being finished, obviously. And it's been a week of Wednesday. And what else is Tom and I? Tom and I catching up on Sandman as well, and that is just epic. I mean, having read all the graphic novels years and years and years ago, and my friends cosplaying as Death years before we realised we were actually cosplaying, that sort of thing. It's brought back quite a lot of memories this week, definitely. But Wednesday has been standout.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
So where is Wednesday?
One of the best. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
One of the best TV shows in a long time. It's for 12, but my goodness me, the gore factor is high, and Ida is loving it, absolutely loving it. And she loves anything Tim Burton, so it means that The Nightmare Before Christmas will be on again. Oh, and I had to sit through all the nativities again.
Had I watched?
Sorry.
Had I watched the Black Panther Wakanda Forever film?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Had I watched it when we did the last show? I can't remember, Kirby.
I don't know.
I hadn't watched it. Oh, that's worth watching. Now, I've a little story behind that. Because obviously Isabella came away with it singing the praises of Letitia Wright, who is in it. I'm not allowed to say what she is in it, but I think it could be quite obvious. And she was, every time I mention any actor that's been in Doctor Who, she sort of gets a bit funny and gets, you keep on mentioning actors that have been in Doctor Who, I don't care. Anyway,
We
so
Yeah, we do. And that's how I always approach stuff.
My dad usually
Raven.
sits there and watches it and goes, "He's dead. She's dead."
Face the Raven.
I prefer the Doctor Who thing.
Yes.
But...
Face the Raven is a Doctor Who story featuring the 12th Doctor, where you'll like this one. It's where Clara dies. In that story, there's a character that's got a face on the back of her head. Letitia Wright.
Yeah. We went over that last time.
You.
Oh, sorry, my cat's just knocked a load of stuff off because.
So now I've looked really stupid, and said it twice. Right, where's Susan?
Say it. We have new people.
Right, I don't care. It's going to be a.
What for? My cat knocked stuff over.
No,
Not
because
that.
Kirby Tova said I hadn't spoken about it last week, and I had.
I didn't remember the name of the person.
Right, that's it.
Hey,
Anyway, carry on, Deb.
take those back.
No, they're not directed at you.
No, it's 9:00. I've finished.
Kirby, what have you been
Kirby
watching?
going on about us finishing early.
Kirby.
What have I been watching? Let's see. Unfortunately, I didn't write down a lot of stuff. And,
Oh, well, that's a bit
that I
silly,
should
wasn't
have.
it?
I've been watching Wednesday. I can't watch it unless Fred is watching with me, so I can't go ahead.
Yeah, so.
Although I have spoiled myself. I know who the monster is. But
What a surprise that you've spoiled yourself. My
I
goodness.
guess.
First time
last
ever.
I think it's Taylor, but my daughter and husband think otherwise. We haven't seen the end yet. Don't say anything.
I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, last night I watched the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which is hilarious.
Don't. We haven't watched that yet, but we want to.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I've been watching that in the week.
Kevin Bacon.
I'm related to him.
All those people can now who are in that can put themselves right at number one for their Kevin Bacon quotient.
Okay. I'm related to him.
So let's see what else.
Don't know how though.
Unfortunately, I can't remember some of the other things.
Well, that's a bit pointless, isn't it? I mean, let's do a feature on what we watched this week. Oh, I can't remember.
I kept meaning to write down, but I didn't.
Okay, well, marvellous. Thanks for that, Kirby.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I forgot I haven't put Kevin Bacon into my family tree yet. I think because when that bloke who did that series, Finding Your Roots, they did Kevin Bacon, and one of his ancestors was also one of my ancestors. But that chap who does that Finding, what's it called again? My Famous Kin, hasn't put Kevin Bacon into it that relates to the same ancestor that I have that he has. I think it was Edward I or something. I can't remember now.
This month is always the month where we make decisions on what streaming services we're going to go with. And
you got. I saw the post about this. You decided to get BritBox, didn't you?
Yeah, I had BritBox for a year, and it didn't seem to change. But Fred was really missing her faulty fix and her Blackadder fix and stuff like that. So
wasn't Fawlty Towers on Netflix?
So it was cheap enough. So I went ahead and got that for a year, and then I was glad I did for a couple of reasons as well. Last year, after we made the decision to cancel it, I noticed that Blake 7 was on it, and I've only seen like 3 episodes of Blake 7, and I'm very intrigued. So I plan to do some binge watching.
Yeah,
Blake
you can
7.
definitely play who was in Doctor Who and who is in Blake 7 on that. Michael Jaston is in Blake 7 somewhere along the line.
Yes. I have a book somewhere here about the Blake 7 episodes and stuff. It's a pre-Wikipedia sort of thing. And then as I was sitting in the kitchen yesterday, I turned on The Three Doctors on BritBox. And I was just going, oh, I just love this scene. I just held my phone up and recorded that scene and made a quick TikTok, and it's now my most watched TikTok. 860 views now.
What was it? A scene of what? What was it?
It's a scene from The Three Doctors. It's where the creature is.
Oh yeah, I remember you posting that one. Yeah. Copyright. They'll take it down if it's more than 6 seconds. They'll take it down. That's why when I put things up and it's something that's got a potential copyright thing, I put it down.
I'm
6 seconds
not sure
off.
how many seconds it is. Let's see.
6 seconds. So 6 seconds off. They can't really take it down. They've got no excuse to if it's less.
And I enhanced it by putting the words that he's saying as he says them and stuff like that.
Fair enough. Okay, well that's about it then.
I don't know how long it is. Longer than 6 seconds.
That's what she said. Oh, my bell's over here.
On that note, I'm going to have to leave for the evening.
Okay, so we may or may not be recording.
We're aiming for a couple of weeks' time. Hopefully that'll be the case. Until then, thank you for listening, watching, taking part in the show. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Goodbye, fancy pants.
Yeah, Crow.
The 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast is an APV Services production sponsored by whowon.co.uk, lavazi.co.uk. We are a proud member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance. Doctor Who is a trademark of the BBC. No copyright infringement intended.